Hello again. This is an update on the N64 that I was trying to repair. Where, if you haven't seen part one, this motherboard would read games intermittently. Like it might read it 3 times in a row, and then I try again, and there's no picture on the screen at all. Didn't matter what game I put in, same thing would happen. It was a really intermittent connection somewhere. And to recap from the last video, I found an aftermarket connector. Right now you can see I have the game slot connector pulled out of the socket. I had thrown it away too because I thought it was bad originally. Anyway, I soldered on an aftermarket connector here and it didn't work at all. So then I checked the power supply and it was good. But then when I checked the voltage rails from here where the power supply connected, I found the 3.3 volt was shorted to ground. So at that point, I decided to take that aftermarket connector back off and see, if my voltage rails were good again, and they were. So that's good news. Hopefully I didn't kill anything on the motherboard, and the power supply is good. So I looked around and I found a motherboard, a working motherboard with the game slot, and that's this right now. So what I've done is taken the motherboard that works and the game slot and installed them into my chassis using the heatsink that I had. So at least I have this one working now, and I can get it off my work table. All these parts scattered everywhere, but I still wanted to figure out what was wrong with this in the process, and maybe fix this one in the future here shortly. So I took the game slot that I knew worked off of the motherboard that I just acquired and plugged it onto this one and powered it up, and at least I got it back to the original issue. It would power on. I could see the game maybe 3-4 times in a row. Then I'd power it on and it wouldn't display the game. I did make an observation. Whenever I went to take this back out, the game slot out of the socket on this motherboard, it lifted right out with virtually no resistance. And I actually had to exert a little bit of force on the motherboard that is working to get that connector to disconnect from the socket. So I started to suspect that my issue was not the game slot connector at all, but where it plugs in down on this socket. And I've cleaned it several times. It didn't make a difference. Where I'm not sure that the issue is cleaning or the connector, the socket being dirty, as much as it is maybe the connector pins are a little bit worn and they're just not gripping the game slot pins when it's installed into this socket. So I decided to go ahead and use the microscope and take a closer look and compare the good motherboard socket, these holes, to the ones on this questionable board. And I think maybe you'll see what I'm talking about when you get a chance to look at this microscope video. So let's take a look at it. Alright, so as you can see, the terminals inside of this game slot socket on the motherboard are questionable. I originally wondered, were those terminals built into the motherboard, but the more I looked at this, I noticed that we have this other connector on the bottom, and as I looked through the microscope, it kind of looked like those terminals were down past the motherboard. So I suspect that maybe they're built into the back of this on the bottom side. So I've already started, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've already started taking some of the solder loose. It's not an easy process. It doesn't want to come out cleanly. But my plan is to desolder this whole connector, take it out, and I'm hoping that I can clean the terminals for one. But what I'd really like to do is be able to get a dental pick on each terminal and kind of pry them out a little bit to facilitate a better contact. Whenever I plug the game slot into the socket, maybe if I can bend those terminals back, it'll grip them and make the connection. Now another thought I had was maybe this connector is available. I know the game slots are really hard to find. You almost have to buy a motherboard with the game slot to get one. Now it's real hard to find just the game slot, but anyway, I don't even believe that was my problem on this one. The more I look at it, the more it seems like it might be the socket side. And I do not know for sure that those terminals are part of this connector. That's just my theory at this point. So I'll make a third part whenever I get down into that other connector, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you. Some of you viewers probably already have, encountered this before, and you're probably familiar with this already. So yeah, if you want to leave me a comment or something, that'd be great. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to thank the new subscribers also, and a big thank you to some of the more established channels that recently shouted out to my channel, and that's been very helpful, and I'm very thankful. So JFix and several of the other guys in the community have been promoting new channels, and I thank you. So I'm gonna come back with part 3, and hopefully we can get this working.